Bonjour, here we are at 8.1, almost halfway through. So, let's get started. The passé composé of pronominal verbs. Well, we've already learned the passé composé since chapter 6. And in there we learned that you have to use avoir or sometimes être as your auxiliary verb, and then you add a past participle to it. So, for instance, like, I have eaten, it looks like j'ai mangé, or I fell, je suis tombé, and there we use the être, so you really need to know the avoir and the être. If you remember, we used être as the auxiliary for our Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp verbs, or maybe you know them as the verbs in the house of être. The ones that you can use often for when you're talking about going, you're arriving at a house, you're leaving the house, you fell down in your house, okay? All those verbs, we use être. We have to add another group to those group of verbs that use être in the passé composé, and that is our pronominal ones, which is really pretty simple if you think about it. There's this big flashing light that's telling you need to use être, and that's the reflexive pronoun. So let's remember, what are these verbs that are pronominal verbs? Remember, I call myself, okay? Je m'appelle. I brush my hair. Je me brosse les cheveux. I brush my teeth. Je me brosse les dents. So it's happening back to me, or it's we have the reciprocal, like we talk to each other, or sometimes it is more of an expression, idiomatic as well, like I go for a walk, je me promène. Now, those are all the verbs that use the reflexive pronouns. So let's put them in a sentence, and you'll see that it's really not too tricky. So first we need to use the correct reflexive pronoun for our subject. So let's say je, and remember our reflexive pronouns, they haven't changed. They're not going to change even though we put them in the past. Me, te, se, nous, vous, ce. Okay? Now we're talking about the past tense. We need the correct auxiliary. I already said that our pronominal verbs need to use être as the auxiliary. And so let's go to that. Je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont. So, je suis, and now we need the past participle. So if we're saying, I brushed my teeth, well, that is brosser. And remember our rules for the past participle. ER goes to the accent aigu, IR changes to I, RE changes to U. So those rules are still the same. Je suis brossé les dents. Now, our reflexive pronoun is me. So the question becomes, where do we put it? We put it before our auxiliary verb. Now, if you've been paying attention for our direct object pronouns and our indirect object pronouns, this is the same place. So we have je me suis brossé les dents. I brushed my teeth. Now, we do have to watch out for one thing. When we have our reflexive pronoun with a past participle here, we have to agree with this. However, this is the exception. We don't agree if we have the direct object of the verb, okay, I'm brushing here, is on the body, so the teeth. So, je me suis brossé les dents. You are brushing the teeth, okay? So, the direct object that after the verb here is the body part, then we don't agree with it. But let's find an example where we do have to agree. So, for instance, let's see, I got up. I woke up. So, we don't have a body part, it's just I got up. Je me suis, the auxiliary, levé. Now, if this is a guy, this is fine. If it's a girl, it's not. If a girl is speaking, we have to add an E to it because we're talking about something that's feminine. Now, what you what you should be seeing here is the difference. This I had to add an extra E. This, since it had les dents, I'm not worried about the agreement. But here, since it does not have that body part there, I do have to worry about an agreement. Something else you should look at here is the negative. Je ne me suis pas levé. Again, if you've been paying attention for our direct object, indirect object pronouns, works the same way. The ne goes before the me here. It's still going around our conjugated verb. Let's try it again. How about we did not wake up this morning, or we did not get up this morning. So nous, here's our subject. Ne, nous, reflexive pronoun. Our auxiliary verb has to be some. And if it's a group of girls, we added the extra E here, and we add an S. All right? So just like an adjective, this has to agree back to whatever that nous is that we're talking about. And that's all, really. Just, you have to add that into your mind, into that little filing cabinet with our passé composé. The ones that use être are now the Dr. Mrs. Vandertramp verbs, and our pronominal verbs.